The Cheers to That podcast, proudly brought to you by drinklab.org. Thanks for listening. Your next favorite cocktail is waiting at drinklab.org.
You know, sometimes the simplest things can really catch your attention. Like, have you ever noticed how something just seems to pop up everywhere you look?
Oh, totally.
And suddenly you find yourself wondering, like, what's the story behind this thing?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about the Aperol Spritz.
Okay.
It's this bright orange drink, bubbly, and it's everywhere these days.
Right.
So we thought we'd take a deep dive into the world of the Aperol Spritz.
That's fun.
We're not just gonna, give you the recipe. We're going way back.
Okay.
Looking at its history, the whole cultural impact, the whole thing.
More than just a drink, right? There's some depth to it.
Exactly. So, what's the deal with this drink that's suddenly, the star of every patio?
Well, to really understand it, you got to go back to its roots. Italy, early 1900s.
Okay.
Imagine, finishing up work, meeting your friends.
Yeah.
And you're having this light, refreshing drink before
Oh,
dinner.
I like where this is going.
That's the aperitivo tradition.
Aperitivo.
Yeah, and the Aperol Spritz. That's its claim to fame.
So it's like a whole vibe, not just a drink. I'm picturing myself in Italy right now, like a sun-drenched piazza, sipping on a spritz.
Right.
But why is it taking off here now, though?
Well, it's interesting, right? Tastes evolve, trends change. We're seeing this whole thing with aperitivos now.
Interesting.
And lower alcohol drinks. People are more mindful,
Yeah.
And the Aperol Spritz, it just fits. It's flavorful, but not too strong.
So it's like riding this wave of mindful enjoyment.
Exactly. People want something social, something light.
Yeah.
The Aperol Spritz, it ticks all those boxes.
It's kind of cool though, right? How something so tied to a specific place and time can become this global thing.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. What actually is an Aperol Spritz?
Well, part of its appeal is definitely the simplicity.
Okay.
We're looking at a recipe from Drink Lab, and they make it sound so easy.
Oh yeah.
Basically, Aperol, Prosecco, and then a splash of soda water. That's it.
No, really, that's it. I don't need fancy bartender skills.
Not at all. And that's what's so great about it.
Yeah.
It's uncomplicated in a world that's, anything but.
Totally. I've definitely had some cocktail making fails in my day. Speaking of which, the Drink Lab recipe, they say something about extra dry. Prosecco, what's that about?
Ah, good question. Extra dry for Prosecco, it doesn't actually mean it's super dry. It's about the sweetness. So extra dry actually has a little sweetness to it,
Interesting.
which you need to balance the Aperol's bitterness.
Makes sense. I tried making one with a sweeter Prosecco once. It was not quite right.
Yeah.
It's wild how these little things can make a big difference. I even messed up the pouring order once, which they specifically mention. Apparently, there's a correct way to build a spritz.
There is. It goes back to, simple, not always being so simple.
Right.
Even with something like this, the order you add things, it changes the final drink.
Oh.
Drink Lab says Prosecco first, then the Aperol, then that splash of soda.
So a precise dance of ingredients. I'm definitely guilty of just winging it. But sounds like with the Aperol Spritz, paying attention to those details is worth it. It's funny, right? We talk about simplicity, but then there's this whole other side to the Aperol Spritz.
Oh, yeah.
You can get creative with it. All these variations out there.
Totally. That's what makes it so cool. Like a blank canvas,
Right.
Drink Lab even mentions, some people add gin.
Gin, wow. That makes you think of a Negroni.
Right.
Because that's got gin and the bitter liqueur, too.
Exactly. So it's like a Spritz Negroni mashup.
I'm into it. See, this is what I mean. Just a little tweak can change the whole experience.
Totally. And Drink Lab talks about that. How even swapping one thing,
Yeah.
it changes the whole thing. Some people use that orange seltzer instead of plain soda.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah. Boost the citrusy vibe.
Exactly. Play up those flavors that are already there. It's all about those little tweaks.
It's wild how a drink becomes this whole, cultural thing,
For sure.
Drink Lab had this funny story about this woman, Megan. She's all about the summer vibes, right? And the Aperol Spritz is her drink.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember that.
So one night, she's had a few, feeling those vibes, decides to take the party to a rooftop bar.
Uh-oh.
Let's just say it did not go as planned.
A cautionary tale, maybe?
Yeah.
About too much of a good thing, right?
Maybe. But it shows how the Spritz, it's tied to those good times, Summer evenings, friends.
Definitely. There's just something about it, It just says summer.
It's that feeling. That's what's made it so big. Well, folks, there you have it. We've gone from Italy in the 1900s to rooftops with Megan. We've unpacked the Aperol Spritz.
We have. Its history, how simple it is to make,
Mm-hmm.
but how it's not that simple.
Exactly. And all the ways you can make it your own.
It makes you wonder, though, doesn't it? Is it just the hype? Or is there something about this drink that's just timeless?
Right. I mean, it's survived this long. So
Right.
as you're sipping your next Aperol Spritz, think about that. Big thanks to Drink Lab for all the info. Check them out if you want the recipe or just to learn more.
Cheers to that.
And let us know your Spritz stories. We'd love to hear them.
Mix it up. Grab all the recipes from the description or swing by drinklab.org. Cheers.